How about that cigar?
How about that cigar?
Hey guys, it's Tuesday night. We're excited that you are with us. Thanks for joining us for episode number 34 of How About That Cigar Live. 34. Garrett, how's it going?
Man, dude.
It's what, 6 degrees out right now?
Yeah, actually, we just discovered in Minnesota there is something colder than a witch's breast.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
You can say
it's
tit.
out there.
I'm not offended. You can say tit.
Yeah, witch's titties.
Yeah, it's 6 degrees outside. So thanks for that, Canada, because some big push of weather came down from Canada and gave us 6 degrees in the second week in November. So Canada, yeah, whatever. So a little football talk, like we always start out. So this week was markedly different than last week. Last week, every single team in the NFC North lost. This week,
3 of the 4 won.
Only the Bears lost. No, sorry, the Bears beat the Lions.
Yeah, the Bears
beat the Lions.
Yeah.
So, which is actually good for your team, the Vikings, and my team, the Packers.
That's right.
I gotta say, I'm glad we won after bouncing back from that embarrassing loss to LA, but I still have not felt confident with the Packers win this season. They just have all seemed sort of like ugly wins.
Yeah, and that's the way I feel about this win against Dallas too. It
was a great game though, that Dallas Vikings game.
Gosh,
it was fun to watch.
So good.
Yeah, down to the wire,
Dalvin
great
Cook.
catches.
I mean,
yeah.
Oh, Amari Cooper.
Dalvin Cook's ridiculous.
Dude,
man.
I take off every hat to Amari Cooper, who brings me back to Chris Carter days.
Oh yeah,
his sideline toe game was on point.
Yeah, he's got toe drag for days. He's really outstanding. It was a great game to watch. It was a lot of fun.
And the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah, the Gophers. I mean, beating Penn State. We're 8-0 now, 9-0. But we're getting into the dog days now. We're starting. We're
got a tough schedule ahead.
Yeah, we got Ohio State. We got Wisconsin. We got Illinois. I don't remember who else.
All ranked in the top 25.
Pardon me, I don't remember who else, but yeah, all ranked now.
Yeah.
And we did we bump up to 13?
We bumped up, depending on which poll you look.
Yeah.
So the AP poll had us at 7.
Yeah, 7.
Wow. 7.
I think overall we're probably hovering around 13. So guys, we want to thank you. As I said before, we are coming to you live from the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. Here in lovely 6 degree Minnesota. I want to tell you about the Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented. It's a premium cigar rolled in limited quantities at La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate in Esteli, Nicaragua. Deep barrel fermentation is the key process that makes this expression vastly different from anything on the market. Hand-selected leaves from Kentucky are packed into small torquettes, which are then loaded strategically into oak bourbon barrels. Water is then added while immense pressure is applied to the torquettes with railroad jacks. The tobacco is removed 2 to 3 times per year, shaken out, then repacked. The total process of fermentation takes 12 to 18 months, leaving a truly unique flavor profile and aroma. The Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve Barrel Fermented is now available at brick and mortar Drew Diplomat retailers. So, like we said, guys, this is episode number 34. If you are listening on the audio podcast, whichever audio platform you listen on, thanks so much for giving us some of your time while you're listening, driving down the road or working out or however you listen to podcasts. Please take 2 minutes on your favorite platform. Rate us, give us 5 stars if you like what we're doing. We really do appreciate that. Now we're going to get into our special guest this week. Special guest segment is brought to you by Corona Cigar Company. CoronaCigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest price possible. At Corona Cigar Company, they take pride in being cigar fanatics just like you and me. That is why you will find the best selection of the rarest and finest premium cigars available anywhere in the world. Choose from famous brands like Padron, Davidoff, Fuente, and hundreds more. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to please welcome to How About That Cigar from Cohiba Cigars. He is the brand ambassador for Cohiba Cigars, Mr. Sean Williams. Woot! Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. So, Sean, I met you a few years ago when I was with Blind Man's Puff, and we got to know each other a little bit at the IPCPR and hung out a little bit, and I think you're a great dude, and I love your story. I love your background. I love
Thanks, man.
The energy that you put out there. So, and I was really excited to be able to have you on the show, so everybody who watches us and listens to us can have a chance to know about who you are too. So, give us a little bit of the Spider-Man origin story as far as how you came to love premium cigars.
Oh man, so I'm sure you know the story, and anyone who's kind of known the time probably knows the story. It was probably, I guess, 14 years ago now, back New Year's 2005 when I had my first cigar. It was myself and three of my buddies. We'd all been friends since the 9th grade. We took the wives and girlfriends, not wives and girlfriends. Some of us had wives, others had girlfriends.
What are they? The harem?
Yeah.
You took your harem out?
Just to clarify. So took others on a cruise, and one of my buddies, he was, of the four of us, the one that was most into cigars. I had never even had a cigar. I didn't smoke any at all during the boom or anything like that. So he suggested we go to the piano bar and have a cigar. And we all, went down, and I thought this was kind of cool. These guys, I'm buddies with, just a new experience. So went to the bar, picked out a cigar, and an hour later, I'm, sipping on brandy. I think that was something I was drinking at the time. I don't even remember that quite honestly, but just sipping on my drink and enjoying the camaraderie and talk with these guys I'd known better than half my life at the time. It just was instantly taken with the process. I think more so than anything. I mean, the cigar, it was a Fuente Double Chateau. That's the first cigar I ever had.
Oh, nice.
And
good way to
so
start.
the cigar was good enough. I didn't know any better, but I just really enjoyed it. Just was taken with it. And from there, I got back to Atlanta. And really got into smoking cigars on a better than regular clip, so to speak. Yeah. And didn't have many friends at the time that smoked cigars. Didn't have any really in my immediate circle. So I figured I'd start a group. So I ended up starting the Atlanta Cigar Society with a buddy of mine, and through business contacts and so forth, I started putting on different events around the city, poker nights or wine tastings or whatever. And from that, really, that was sort of my first foray into the cigar community. And that sort of gave me the impetus or the idea that, it might be kind of cool at the time to have my own cigar line, really just to kind of push to the people that were showing up at my events. I didn't really think past that and think past the Atlanta market, little that I know that, 14 years later, I'd be, Tuesday night sitting in my breakfast area talking to you guys about my career in cigars. So that's kind of how I got started. That's the clip.
Yeah. And how did it come to pass that you like you said, you started your own cigar line, which was, I mean, if you're gonna go, man, go all out. And you really went head first into it. So
listen,
how did that
man,
come to pass?
Ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Like, you think, it's like any other business. You put out a good product at a good price, and good things happen. Yeah, no, it's a tough business, and you got to really, really, really be passionate about this to hang in there. This business is going to punch you in the face, man. So, but I loved it. I mean, I sort of joke with people that I was too stupid to quit. But I mean, I really enjoyed it, and it's something that you can't. It's hard to explain to somebody. You create a product that you put out on the marketplace, and people respond and really give you feedback from, again, something you created, and they do that in my instance, nationwide, and then eventually at some point, not worldwide, but in many corners of the world. So I mean, that's kind of hard, man, to find something that sort of feeds your spirit that way. So I stuck with it. Figured out what was the model that worked for me, at least to a degree. I think I figured it out.
Yeah.
I managed to survive better than 10, 11 years until General Cigars and Cohiba, took notice of me and thought that I should be the guy to be in this position, which has just been phenomenal. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And let's tell everybody what we're smoking. Garrett actually
Yeah.
stopped and picked up these beauties for us at a local shop.
Is that the black?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the Cohiba Black, man, that's classic Connecticut broadleaf, grown here in the USA in the Connecticut River Valley. Piloto Cabano binder aged in tercios, which is a classic old school. I literally actually never in person seen the tercios process of aging tobacco until coming on board with General Cigar and Cohiba. But the Piloto Cabano is aged in tercios, and then in the filler you have more Piloto Cabano with some San Andreas. So classic medium body Maduro, not much in the way of overpowering spice, but just black coffee, bitter chocolate, deep, rich, sweet Maduro. I've smoked a ton of those cigars. That was one of the first ones I jumped on when I first came on board. So,
well, you actually just hit all of the notes. When you look at this, it's a big cigar.
Yeah.
And
you smoking the Gigante?
Yeah.
the Gigante.
Oh, nice. Well, I couldn't tell. I didn't know if you had small hands, man. I wasn't I wasn't sure. I don't know if that was a Corona. I wasn't sure.
Your face isn't that orange, is it?
That's the petite Corona.
Yeah, man.
No,
I'm sorry.
Big in my hand.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
But no, this size, it can be really intimidating to look at a cigar this size and then you start to get into it.
Yeah.
And man, and it's medium all day long.
Yeah.
And just beautiful flavors right off the bat.
Now that's a great size, but I got to tell you, man, if you're smoking that cigar, my favorite size in that cigar is the Supremo, which is the classic Toro, and my second favorite is the Robusto Extra. I mean, that wrapper really pops through with the once you get to that 50 or 52 ring gauge, that wrapper really pops through, and the profile is a little bit more intense. It's a great thing. The Gigante is good, but that's more of a nuanced smoke. You don't get a lot of the pop as far as the strength and body in that cigar. Ironically enough, you would think that it's a headbanger. But it actually lets you off the hook a little bit. It's more intimidating than it smokes.
Awesome.
There's a lot of sweetness. I get a lot of sweetness with this one.
Good. Yeah. It's a Maduro. It's a Maduro's Maduro. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of Maduros. Here, the first cigar I ever made, with my brand, my very first release was Maduro, and that was a time back in the mid 2000s when Maduros were about sweet, rich, deep flavors and so forth. Then it got to a point where it was just about strength and linear profiles and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I always just sort of go back to if I want a Maduro, I want a Maduro for the sort of sweet, rich, coffee bottom to it.
Absolutely.
That's what I like. So
to remind people who are watching the show live, please feel free to leave your questions or comments for Sean. Or us, general questions.
Absolutely.
Keep them. Keep comments coming.
So, Sean, tell us about you've got, like you said, back in the day, you had your own brand, and then you get approached by General Cigar. What was the decision making process like for you when you were presented with that opportunity, as far as whether or not you were going to take on that role of brand ambassador for Cohiba?
Yeah. So that's a good question. So, for me, it was what do I love about this business, right? Certainly, creating El Primer Mundo and the following that I was able to sort of garner over a number of years, and really enjoy being a part of that. To sort of step away from it and say, okay, well, I've taken that to this level, and now I'm going to sort of take my hands off of it and get in front of another brand. That's a tough decision, but when it comes down to it, I thought about the things I really love, and what that is I really love the process of creating cigars and bringing cigars to the marketplace. I just enjoy the blending process, and where else can I do that and have access to, endless array and supply of tobacco. There's no place like Jones Cigar. And also, I really enjoy the customer engagement. Getting out and meeting the consumers that are smoking the product and getting the feedback and interacting in the marketplace. Well, obviously, this vehicle gives me ample opportunity to do that. And then, oh, by the way, it's with arguably one of the most iconic names in cigars. So I just looked at the things that I love most about the business and say, okay, well, I can do all these things I love about the business without some of the headaches that I didn't love about the business. And when you're running a small boutique brand, I mean, it's always like a hamster wheel, man. Just constantly, staying in front of the resource crunch. The travel demands, and in our instance, dealing with the brokers. It's just so many layers to it, and it's so daunting when you're a small brand. So I'm like, okay, I can do all these things that I love doing, and again, do them for an incredible brand. I mean, a juggernaut of a brand.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I could have ever done in the lifetime of my brand that would approach the level of a Cohiba.
Yeah.
So it just gives me, again, an opportunity to be a cigar maker and interact with cigar enthusiasts on a level that I could never have dreamed of. So it's been a wonderful 2.5, 3 years at this point. So It's been amazing. Yeah.
So in the beginning, sorry, Garrett.
No.
In the beginning, when you came in, you're obviously you're coming into an established brand, like you said, a juggernaut of a brand. I mean, people who've never even smelled cigar smoke recognize the name Cohiba around the world. So when you come in, I imagine, in the beginning, you're learning. You have to get brought up to speed on the brand, the lines, the blends, things like that. You have to get brought up to speed. But then once once you had your spikes dug in and you were the guy, what was the first of the Cohiba blends, of the Cohiba brands? What was the first one that you really got to sink your teeth into in the blending process and the design process?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask me something else. Well, that's easy. That's Silencio. That's my signature cigar, my private blend with Cohiba. And that was significant in that it's one of only 2 Cohibas that's made in Nicaragua. The other being the Cohiba Nicaragua. And anybody who knows me, the history of my brand and sort of my blending profile is rooted in Nicaraguan tobacco, having made my very first cigars with the Plasencia family. And the cornerstone of most of my blends have been Nicaraguan tobacco. So it was sort of a way to kind of put my signature, I guess, for lack of a better term, on the brand with my signature cigar. So and with that, I took things that I've loved over the years, as far as Nicaraguan tobacco, mixed with the things that I loved about Cohiba and that are staples to Cohiba. So you have the Nicaraguan wrapper, you have Cameroon binder, which obviously is synonymous with Cohiba Red Dot, and in the filler you have Nicaraguan tobaccos along with Piloto Cabana, which is a staple in every blend that we do for Cohiba. So that was the first one I had a chance to work with, and the second was Spectre, which was just a ridiculous project to work on. So that
Spectre is pretty amazing.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So we had a chance to chat with Ricky Rodriguez a few months ago.
My dude, pretty Ricky, what they call him.
He was. You're kind of echoing a lot of what he was saying. Of what an honor it is to come in and be a part of really a family of a big name like General and the resources that they bring in. Can you talk a little bit about what that transition looked like for you doing your own thing, but now coming into a big company like General? What were some of the big differences that you had to deal with?
Well, I don't know about big differences I had to deal with. I mean, the big differences that I saw was just an incredible, amount of resources and back end support, which that's I was it, with my own brand. So that's the big upside. I mean, and it's interesting. What I was surprised at was the sort of spirit of innovation that's within the company. I mean, to a degree, it's a big company, so it's hard to to turn. It's a lot easier to turn a speedboat than a battleship. So so some things move a little bit slower, but if you just sort of look at the structure, you have Cohiba and you have me, you have CAO and you have Rick, you have Diesel, you have Justin. There's actually sort of internal competition between it's sort of like being on a record label and you got so everyone their album drops, so we got to come hard. Let's go back to
right.
So and the company actually encourages that. Like we get together and we'll have a few times a year where we're all together in the factory. We're all smoking each other's stuff, and we're like, I almost cursed, but we're always like, this is good. like I what tobacco's in there? I wish I had that, and they encourage that. So there's only so much stuff we can load into the pipeline and bring out, obviously. But there's a certain aggressiveness about the company that I was really surprised at, to be honest. And maybe that's not maybe. I'm fairly certain that's a relatively new dynamic as far as being within the last few years. Being under the supervision of Regis as the president. He just created a certain environment that allowed us to really sort of stretch out and be creative and not be afraid to try things, make mistakes and whatever. You got bumpers that you have to stay within, but for the most part, I mean, it's been a very different experience than I expected. I mean, I thought that I'd come on and it'd be some administratively laden behemoth of a company. They'd shove a GPS up my ass no, it's been okay. These are, don't get too ahead of your skis, but this is kind of, 30,000 feet where we want to be, how you get there.
Make it happen, Captain.
We're good. So it's been pleasantly surprising in that way. But aside from that, I mean, overall, it's just been a great experience, man. I mean, there's some, you talk about Ricky, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that you don't see that are just terrific people to work with. And I'm sort of on an island, I guess, sort of like Ricky is too. It's not like I go to an office every day. So my interaction is most times on phone calls or emails back and forth and whatever. But on those far and few between occasions where we all get a chance to get together, it's always like a reunion, man. So it's a great environment, and it far exceeded my expectations. It really has.
Just a quick follow up to that, and I want to. It's more of a comment about. I want to say before I had the conversation with Ricky, I want to say my impression of General Cigar was kind of that negative big corporate giant who just puts out a lot of sticks. Being totally honest.
Understood. Yeah.
And after talking with Ricky and a few other people, and now you, and hearing this, totally makes me think, maybe General for some years kind of rested back on their laurels a little bit. But in the last 4 to 5 years, the things that you guys have been doing for innovating and recreating some of the brands and bringing guys like you in has completely changed my opinion on General as a whole and allowed me to enjoy many of their cigars again, because I got too snobby for it.
And that actually, Garrett, I should give you a gold star, because that's a great segue into a question I have written down here and that is, and Garrett's totally right. General Cigar has done a really great job over the last 4 to 5 years, reinvigorating brands that, for good or bad, right or wrong, brands that in the cigar nerd community kind of became relegated as like oh, that's just a catalog brand, or oh, that's just a blah blah brand, or whatever you want to say about it. You know, guys got an attitude about certain brands, and General's done a really good job, like Garrett said, bringing in you, bringing in Justin, bringing in Ricky, bringing in people to reinvigorate those brands. And you know, like with Justin, Diesel has truly kind of been reinvigorated as a boutique brand.
Yeah.
And you with Cohiba has been reinvigorated as a luxury brand. And so
thank you.
What would you, well, first of all, would you agree that that's the case? And how rewarding is it to be a part of a process of kind of turning a brand around like that? Because you guys really have.
Yeah. So listen. I'm not, you know, sucking for my own exhaust pipe, bro. So don't. I mean, I have a sneaky suspicion Cohiba will be just fine without me. Yeah. So my whole mission when I came on board. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a boutique guy. I mean, that's you know, for whatever you know, way you want to look at that. I mean, that's you know, that was my space. So I still have sort of that mentality, that sort of guerrilla warfare, personal, you know, hands-on, like every detail I have to be involved with. Now, with that being said, it's great that we have the teams and the layers that we have, because, you know, when I you know, look at something or kind of check the box on something, most of the you know, footwork has been done already, which is awesome. So I can really concentrate on just the cigar piece. I mean, you know, with my brand, I used to, you know, help try to design the bands and the packaging and whatever. I don't do any of that. I don't even pretend that I do any of that. There's a terrific marketing team. We use some outside consultants to really, you know, it's Cohiba, man. So, you know, it has to present well, has to look, and that's been something that's been a major focus, like getting some symmetry across the look of the brand, making sure that, you know, somebody's dropping 20 singles on the cigar, then, you know, it should look like it. And the brand has been phenomenal over the years, but, you know, everything needs updating, right? So that's been a big thing. So, but with that being said, you know, I've been able to just really, you know, keep my focus in on the cigar piece. And as far as reinvigorating the brand has never really fallen off. It's still, you know, it's done, you know, serious numbers year over year. I mean, there's some soft years, and that's just, you know, sort of a natural reset in the marketplace. But my big thing was coming on board and making sure that I was able to maybe connect with another consumer, like, you know, you guys included, from what I'm hearing in this conversation. Reconnect with another consumer to really have people take another look at the brand and get past, you know, the price tag and get past the big name or whatever, and really help people understand what's under the hood. Like you know, why is Cohiba Black what it is? You know, I mean, you know, grown in the Connecticut River Valley, you know, since its inception by the same family, the Thrall family, it's still growing for us. You know, what makes the red dot so special? You know, we are the people that kept the lights on for authentic Cameroon wrapper. You guys have been smoking long enough to remember when Cameroon was blazing hot, and then all of a sudden it was gone. It just got so dangerous in that part of the world that literally the Mirafil family would not comfortably grow tobacco over there.
Right.
And we are the company that marshaled the resources to make sure they had what they need from a safety standpoint, a research standpoint, to continue to grow tobacco over there. So guess what? We got the best damn Cameroon on the planet. So, you know, and that means something. So my whole thing was making sure that you know, I can help explain why the brand is what it is, and kind of get under the hood and make sure that going forward, the blends that came out really sort of reflected a larger profile. And as you guys have noticed, more Nicaraguan tobacco included, more use of Sumatra wrappers, and just sort of expanding the palette a little bit, but at the same time, not alienating the long-term Cohiba enthusiast that's been smoking the cigar. And I think we've done that. So that's been my thing, not just kind of increasing the family, not reinvigorating the family. If I can put it that way.
No, yeah, and I agree with that 100%. And I didn't mean to say the brand.
No, I didn't take it anyway, but I just
no, I hear you 100%.
Yeah.
But what I notice, and for good or bad, sometimes bad, the cigar nerd community, they get online and they start chattering like a bunch of like a bunch of old hens, and guys start getting, guys put way too much effort and time sometimes into disparaging the brands. And I have no time for that. I don't think anybody should put their time into it. But the fact that what for the best reasons, what I've seen from General in the past few years has caused a lot of those chatterers to shut the hell up.
Yep.
And I think that's a good thing, because because we've talked about this before on our show, is whatever you may think of a certain brands, or whatever label you may decide that you like or don't like on a certain cigar, in the grand scheme of things, for the most part, with some exceptions here and there, but for the grand scheme of things, the tobacco is grown in the same fields.
Yeah, man.
The process is the same. The hands that are rolling those cigars are the same. The way it's fermented, the way it's this and that. And there are minor differences that sometimes can make a blend just really
I tell people all the time, you pick the worst cigar in the humidor, it took at least 3 years to get it to your mouth. You can't, I don't talk down on anybody's cigar. I mean, there's 300 million people plus in America. Not everybody likes the same dish. Not everybody likes the same liquor. Not every cigar is supposed to be for everybody's palate. Hell, that's why we make so many different cigars.
Exactly.
So you can't. You let people. Let people find their space and find what they like, man.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the that Jay-Z joint?
To any degree, not really, because that predates me. Obviously, that was the Commodore was sunset. I don't know, maybe almost a year before I came on board. So, and I'm not really read in on it. I know about it, obviously.
Right.
But
anything in the pipeline with either Jay-Z or somebody else that you can drop that there's a collab with coming up?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
I like that answer.
Love it.
My daughter's telling me good night. Good night, babe. Love you. Good night. So no, there's no, not really, man. I mean, and I don't know who we do that with at this point. I've been fortunate in this position to meet a lot of people and smoke cigars with a lot of people. So the Cohiba brand has sort of pretty big wings, and there's a lot of people that we can possibly do something like that. There's some private stuff that we've kind of talked about, but from a big branding standpoint to work into the pipeline of the sales force, nothing like that's on the radar. Not for Cohiba, at least. It's just a lot of moving parts, man.
For sure,
to make sure the numbers work. Because listen, nobody's doing it for free, right? So,
but collabs are kind of the thing right now. It's a hot thing to do. There's a lot of collabs going on, whether it's some of these bigger shops that are doing collaborations, or celebrities that are getting into this.
I've done it, man. I've done it though. Like it's a big thing, I guess. But
you got your T-shirt, and
listen. I did officially the first tri-laboration, right? with me and Eddie Ortega at Eric Espinosa's. That was the reunion project, Larceny. So that was the first tri-laboration. 3 names on the box, man. I've done it. So let me know how it goes, right? It's like it's once you bring there's a beautiful team behind Cohiba, like guys that you guys would never know about: Jonas Diaz, Abel Cruz, Yuri Guillen. That do incredible work, to bring us incredible cigars, and I don't get down there nearly enough to work with the guys and kind of get in front of what we're doing. So just to sort of add another dynamic in, where there's another personality, there's another schedule, there's another financial concerns. It's just a lot to it that the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I don't know what the upside would be for the brand. So it's not something on the radar for us.
I get it.
Maybe somebody higher up would tell me, hey, you got to do this. And so I'd have to listen or not listen. But it's not something I'm really interested in.
Right on.
So yeah.
So what was it like last year? I know I believe it was last year that Cohiba Connecticut released. Was that correct?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was last spring.
That one, it really hit hard. I mean, it really there was so much good talk around that cigar, and I even remember first smoking it at the trade show, and just that cigar got me right away. And
you first smoked it this summer in Vegas.
No, not this summer. So
2018 IPCPR.
Well, maybe it wasn't. No, because we didn't.
No, it couldn't have been.
So it must have been because one of your people was kind enough to send some to us. So it must have been.
So yeah, that's what I was wondering. I would hope that you guys would have had a chance to smoke it before.
Oh yeah.
Before Vegas. So yeah. No, that cigar was fun. It was a fun project to do, man. Cohiba had never done a Connecticut shade cigar,
right?
And so what do you do? Like what space do you want to play in with the Connecticut shade? Is it going to be, which is a crowded space? I mean, for all us who claim we smoke super heavy headbanger cigars, the vast majority of the market smokes mild to medium cigars.
Yeah,
I don't care what you heard, what you think. That's the reality.
Yep.
So with such a crowded marketplace or a crowded audience, like what do we put out? So we want to do something complex, something with some weight. So we really just got into the mix, man. With the Los Rios region grown Ecuadorian wrapper, the binder is San Andres. In the Philly, you have Brazilian Matafina. You have Ligero from the Jalapa Valley of Nicaragua. You got Piloto Cubano, and you got Olor Dominicana. So you got basically 6 different leaves from 5 different countries. That's something that's never been done in the Connecticut shade, and consequently, you're going to have a heavier cigar, but still has the things that you like that's sort of inherent to a Connecticut shade cigar: creamy, buttery notes, that sort of nice sort of floral elegance to it. But it has some body, it has some ass on it, so to speak.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, that's one of those things that we've talked to so many people that for whatever reason, well, most likely because, like you said, the market wants mild medium cigars.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the market wants. So you give the people what they want, and there have been some great Connecticut shade cigars on the market for forever.
Absolutely, yeah.
There've been some really good sort of new interpretations of Connecticut wrap cigars coming on the market in the last few years. But sometimes, in my opinion, there have been some cigars that have missed the mark because they try to be something they're not. They try to put a, like you said, they try to put a strong ass kicking cigar in a Connecticut wrapper.
It's tough.
It's just too, it's too over the top. But there have been some blends, the Cohiba Connecticut included, that in the past couple of years they've gone back to the roots. They've gone back to that. Look, this is the Connecticut shade cigar. It's going to have nuance. It's going to have flavor. It's going to have, but at the same time, the Cohiba Connecticut has that something that just makes you turn up your eyebrow and say, okay, there's a little something different going on
here. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and then the year before that, if I'm not mistaken, was the Cohiba Blue.
Now, Cohiba Blue actually predates me too. So I came on board officially. I signed my contract in April of 2017. Start date was May of 2017, and Cohiba Blue was released, I think, in March.
Okay.
So it maybe a month or 6 weeks before I came on board, and that one has done phenomenally well. And I tell you, with the new packaging remix on it, oh my God, I'm scared what that cigar is going to do. Like, seriously, I mean, it's we'd rather sell the higher price Cohibas, but the Blue is a solid cigar, classic Central American blend. You got the Olancha San Agustin Honduran wrapper, same leaf as the binder, obviously different priming. In the Philly, you have some nice Ometepe, Ligero from Nicaragua. You have Hamastron Valley Honduran tobacco, and of course you got Piloto Cubano. So classic Central American blend. Just medium body, not an overly complex cigar, but it's just a solid cigar, consistent, tasty smoke, and incredible price on it. So it's done well.
Yeah, that's good.
And mind if we change gears a little bit here?
Yeah,
and,
man.
Go away from cigars for just a minute.
Uh-oh.
Are you from the Atlanta area?
No, man, I'm from New Orleans, man. You don't see my New Orleans Saints post every week, man.
Oh yeah, he's
You know, as funny as it is, I'm kind of a social media pariah right now. I'm well, maybe not a pariah is not the right word. I only do Facebook really on Tuesday nights. And
good for you. There's no other. No, I'm joking.
And do a little bit of Twitter for some things, but I that's just me. That's just where I'm at.
I'm from New Orleans, born and raised. I've been in Atlanta now. This time around since 2002, so 17 years. But also lived here in the early 90s before the Olympics. So all in, I probably spent 20 years of my life in Atlanta. But I'm a New Orleans boy, born and raised, uptown New Orleans.
Are you a Saints guy?
Absolutely.
So,
he is the Saints guy.
So what the hell happened?
Man, I listen, all last week people were talking, oh my God, the Falcons are going to go get their heads beat in. I'm thinking, nope, I'm hoping the Saints are not thinking that, right? I'm hoping they're not thinking that this 1-7 team is going to come here and lay down. Because if you're 1-7, you're playing your biggest rivalry, one of the best teams in the NFL at the time, you got nothing to lose, right? You got nothing at all to lose. The coach is almost being fired. He's switching out, stepping away from being the defensive coordinator and putting the linebacker coach in his place, and they have nothing to lose. Meanwhile, the Saints show up and they're flat and they get stunned. I kind of knew it. I knew it. And I saw the spread. The spread was like 13.5. I was like, man, I don't bet on games, but if I did, I would have took the Falcons in the points because I knew they wouldn't cover the spread.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's one of those things. So hopefully, you shake it off. You got smacked in the mouth. You got cold cocked, and and there were some other things. I mean, Brady Garrett, played like a beast. But Andrews Pete, starting guard, went out and he had Clappin, which he's not a guard. He's kind of a utility guy on the line, and he got his lunch ate, but. It's all good. It's all good. Still 7-2. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Well, that's like what happened 2 weeks ago with my Green Bay Packers against LA. I mean, LA's not they're not a 1-6 team or anything like that.
Yeah, but the Packers don't lose to the Raiders. That doesn't happen.
The Packers played like a second grade flag football team in that game. It was horrible. Every position was bad. Aaron Rodgers was bad. Everybody was bad in that game. So
any given Sunday, you show up, man, and you're just a little flat. Yeah, you're gonna get trucked. So yeah.
So actually, I want to. I like this. I'm going to kind of stay on this note right now. So I want you to choose one of the following that you could get to do in your lifetime. Would you rather hit a home run as the starting pitcher, score a touchdown as a defensive lineman, or score a hockey goal as a goalie?
Score a touchdown as a defensive lineman. I was a defensive end. That's always a dream. Man. What are you talking about?
Yeah. That's
easy.
I mean, because how many defensive linemen in the history of the NFL have scored a touchdown?
I don't know.
Maybe 50.
Yeah,
in the history of the league.
And it's fun to watch, especially if it's a big boy.
Yeah,
one of those interior big boys run.
Oh yeah. Rumbling down the field,
BJ Raji or something.
One of the I'm not going to say the worst feelings, but just like one of those empty, just weird feelings. Like the year after I left Grambling, I'm at the Bayou Classic. Grambling plays Southern. That's the biggest game of the year. And Keith Marks is the defensive end playing in the position I played in. We had this play that we used to run called Storm, where the inside, it was we played a pro 4-3 defense. So the inside linebacker and the outside linebackers would both blitz, and the defensive end would sort of fake a blitz, but you kind of hold up on the line. And I saw them. I know as soon as it happened, as soon as the defensive move, I knew it was the play. And the middle linebacker got to Southern's quarterback as he was throwing the ball, and he tipped it, and Keith Marks caught the ball in the same position I would have been in. He scooted for like a 63-yard touchdown. I'm thinking, oh my God, like
man,
it's a dream. It's a dream. I would have been right there on that play. So that was an easy question.
Always
a dream. Always. Yeah. What else you got?
So if if you were about to get into a fight, what soundtrack music would come on?
Oh my God, what are you talking about? Oh my God. Wow. Man, I don't know. Willie Hutch, brother's going to work it out. I don't know. some old school psychedelic pep music or something. I don't know.
Good.
I like that.
Yeah.
That reminds like a old Jim Kelly movie.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Carl Douglas. Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Yeah, that's right.
Bring it back to the streets, man.
Okay, if you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Okay, you broke up. If I can hear the thoughts of what for 10 minutes?
If you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Wow, that's heavy.
That's a good question.
I don't know.
I've got a good follow-up too.
I don't know. My wife, maybe.
You're brave. You're brave. I would never want to. I would never want to hear my wife's thoughts for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Who else would that be? I don't know. I don't want to hear anybody's thoughts, man. That's just nothing about that sounds good.
That's a burden. It's
Absolutely.
a burden. I thought about that hard when I put that in the notes, man. I thought about that question. I thought
I'm thinking about.
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I'll fly blind. I don't want to know. No.
All right, my follow-up is: who inspires you still today?
My family. I mean, as far as inspiration, man, there've been people in my life certainly that have been inspirations in my life. My mother, single woman, 4 boys. We grew up, pretty rough uptown New Orleans, and ups and downs and whatnot. And as it stands now, myself and all my brothers, we all have college degrees.
That's
I
a mom right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, we came out. Listen. I don't hide it, man. It's like we lived in public housing. I went to Orleans Parish school board schools, and my mom fought, scratched, kept it together, and so you always want to make mom proud, right? But then you grow up and you have your own family. So I got all daughters, wife, and I certainly want them to be proud of me. So that's the kind of motivation.
Yeah.
But inspiration, I mean, I played for Eddie Robinson, and he's probably singularly, if not the greatest, certainly one of the greatest men I ever met in my life. I mean, this guy, my freshman year of college, he turned 70 years old. He had been coaching since so long that during World War II, they couldn't field the team. So he had been coaching since before World War II.
What?
And at 70 years old, he was still coming around door to door with this old schoolyard bell, and walking through the dorms, knocking on every door, waking you up for class. He didn't have to do that. He had graduate assistants and assistant coaches and whatever, but he personally did it. Like, he personally came in every morning and took your school ID from you, and I thought he was a son of a bitch for it.
Yeah.
You take your school ID, hand it to Coach Sterling or Coach Mann, whoever was with them, and they would collect all the school IDs, and they would go to the cafeteria. So by 8:30 or so, 8:30, you'd have to show up dressed for breakfast at the cafeteria, and they gave you your school ID back. That way, he knew you were upper class and you're eating and you were dressed.
Yeah.
So
that's dedication.
This is the winningest coach in college football history.
Yeah.
So him and my father-in-law was another great man, rest his soul, and I was fortunate enough to have him live with us for the last few years of his life, and he was a guy you could buy a used car from, man, like old school cat, like he's just a guy who just couldn't, he had to shoot to you straight, couldn't tell a lie, couldn't bite his tongue either, which that had its ups and downs. But he was just a man's man, just a straight old dude. And for me, growing up with a single mom, never having, I had big brothers, but didn't have a dad around. So So it was kind of cool to have that experience, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So those are probably two personally most inspiring people that I know, along with my mom. So that's me. It's my story. So,
I love it.
And do you find yourself in positions from time to time, whether it's out there meeting people or working with different people at General Cigar? Do you find yourself in a position to be even a little bit of a mentor to some other people? And if so, how do you approach that?
Yeah, man. So I've been in this business now a decade and a half, right? I've seen a lot of brands come and go, and I get approached all the time. I'm still amazed at the number of people that want to start cigar brands in this current landscape, the FDA and everything you could think of. People hit me up all the time. Hey, I want to start a cigar.
We always say, careful what you wish for.
Yeah, man. Listen, but I'm not going to piss in the Cheerios. So
absolutely.
I caution against it, whatever. But people reach out to me all the time, and I talk to anybody, as many people as I can, and not for nothing. I'm a black guy. I don't know if you know that.
I know.
And there's not many of me in this position. So I kind of take that seriously. And I've seen a growth in the black community as far as cigar enthusiasts and cigar shop owners and whatnot. So certainly, as more people, I can't say of color because obviously it's, the Latin cultures which started the sort of whole cigar platform. But as far as more blacks coming in, as they come in, whether at any level, whether they're wanting to start a brand or they're opening a shop or just trying to figure it out. Yeah, I get a lot of people asking questions, not just blacks, but people just in general. I mean, there's I kind of joke that if I had a dime for the people I help get jobs at different companies, man, I'd retire. So it's if you stay around long enough, man, I mean, the failures are worth something, right? I mean, I tell people all the time, I don't have all the right answers, but man, I could tell you some of the things that didn't work. I may not know the exact roadmap, but I can look back and tell you where the landmines were, and don't go that way. So I just try to offer that to anybody I can. I mean, anybody that asks. So yeah, and it's weird, man. I mean, and I think about I'll be 50 this summer, so you really start to kind of look back and think like you want things to matter, right? At least I do. So yeah, I try to help whenever I can, man. I really do.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the things I wanted to ask you about was being a black man in the cigar industry. I don't really know from that standpoint what you go through, and from the beginning, if that was something that if there was anything maybe additional that you had to overcome or have a little more effort, a little extra effort than the other guy, that kind of thing, just to get maybe to the same level as some other guys do.
You know what, man? Not that I know.
Yeah.
Not certainly. I mean, I've been in a shop or two here and there, and I felt kind of uneasy. Just some a little tension. But that's no different from being in certain parts of America or whatever.
I'm going to a bar.
Right. Yeah, that's not an industry thing at all. But as far as the industry, no, man. Listen, I remember when I first January 2006, when I first landed in Managua, and Dave Blanco was there, and picked me up at the airport. We drove up into to Esteli, and I first walked into the Placencia factory. I could almost choke up right now at how warm and open and inviting they were. And I remember just little things like when I first sold cigars into Russia, and those cigars, they wouldn't come into the States. I mean, they had to be packed a certain way, weighted. It was just a lot to it. And those cigars were leaving straight from Nicaragua to go to Russia. So I wasn't there. I'm on the phone with the factory and emailing whatever. And I mean, and this was talking about running a gauntlet to get all this stuff together to meet the regulations to get the cigar sold over there. And all the stuff that they did to me and did for me, and the extra mile that they went just to make sure this order was right, because this is my first international order was just incredible.
Yeah.
And then people that I've met throughout the industry, from Ricky. I mean, when I first met Ricky, when he first was sort of introduced as the face of CAO, not long after the Oslingers had just sold CAO. So, that's a pretty daunting task for him. And I meet him at Highland Cigar Bar here in Atlanta. I don't know, 10, 12 years. I don't know how long ago it was at this point. And we hit it off immediately. And he was actually, fast forward a few years, and we became buddies. And fast forward a few years later, he's the person. He was the emissary. He was the person that General Cigar asked, "Hey, do you know this guy? Call him." And I remember when I got the call from Rick about coming aboard doing this. He was the guy that basically floated this concept to me after they mentioned my name in meetings internally. And he's like, "Hey, they want me to call you. Are you interested?" So I mean, yeah, man. So it's as far as the industry, I can't think of anybody, man. I mean, no, man. I mean, everybody that I've come across as far as industry, I guess, because on this side of the fence, we sort of know the fight, right?
Yeah.
We all, especially the little guys, we fight the same fight: regulations, resources, getting share of voice out there as it relates to sales forces. Just traveling. I mean, you got certain, certain guys you see on the road, like you have your own routine. You go to diners together. Me and Mike Rosales from Roma Craft, we used to share hotel rooms because I had a hookup on Marriott rooms, right? Like he would pay for breakfast, so. No, man. I mean, I haven't that I know of. I mean, maybe they called me, who knows, behind my back. But as far as what I know, I haven't had any issues based on my color and not with industry cats at all whatsoever.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that it's a phrase I say all the time. This cigar people are the best people. I mean, I've known every walk of life, people in the time I've been on this earth, and they're such phenomenal people surrounding the cigar industry, and it's a group of people, whether it's brand owners, whether it's rollers, whether it's sales folks, whether it's brokers, whether it's marketing people, or just shop owners. There's such phenomenal people in this business, and it's great to have a chance to get to know as many of them as possible, because we're not here very long, so let's make the most of it.
Yeah. And there's a much bigger culture of black cigar shop owners, and I think just in general, I was down in Atlanta in the Duluth area over the summer and went to a couple of shops. And I worked half the day at this one shop, and I was the only white guy there the entire day. And that was a completely new experience for me.
Were you on Peachtree Industrial? Do you remember? How long ago was this?
This was in July.
What shop was it?
What shop was it?
It was the one that I was live.
The one you were live. Yeah. I wasn't there. I don't remember the name of it.
I want to say it was Big. Man,
but the guy came. There was a customer there that came on with you.
Yeah,
his name was Steve.
Yeah,
and great dude.
Yeah, military guy, and we talked about military and stuff. But the half the day there, only white guy there, but was treated like family, type of thing. But
wow, that's pretty cool. I don't know the shop up there in Duluth. I mean, there this used to be God, I can't even remember now. There's a Max. Is it Max cigar? Was it Max?
It could be Max.
Yeah, it might have been Max.
Big Max. Big.
Well, it's called Max.
It might be Max.
And the story behind that is that shop was initially being opened by, this is going back years and years, Mac 10, the rapper.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah. And there was some issue he had some confusion about whether or not he could carry Cuban cigars and stuff like that. and it wasn't as attractive to him when he realized he couldn't. So Tony Meadows actually kind of, I'm not going to say bought the shop, but kind of took over it in the process of it being open, and never changed the name. So it's been called Max Cigars since the beginning. Yeah. So
I know the owner's name is John, but I don't remember.
Cigar Jazz. You had Cigar Jazz?
Cigar Jazz. That's what it is.
Wow. Yeah. When you said John, okay, I know who that is. Yeah.
He has live music and just packs it out for these live music events, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cigar Jack.
Sean, have you had a chance to go to once or more to the new spot that Cam Newton opened up?
I have not. Listen, okay. Man, I have not. And I got to get down there, but I mean, just like tonight, I mean, I coach my daughter's basketball team. I run around like crazy. I got a pack. I'm flying out in the morning. So at night, man, it's hard for me to get out. And I'm always traveling. I'm always doing events. So, if I go elsewhere at night, I have to, put on a blazer and do that. So it's just tough. Yeah. And then it's in town. So I'm going to get there. Just haven't yet.
What have you heard?
I hear it's great. Now, it's not really, really heavy as far as having a big cigar selection, a big humidor.
Right, I've heard that.
We've heard.
Well, curated cigar selection, and it's definitely stuff that you can smoke and buy. And it's a for what it is. So it's a really nice cigar bar, restaurant, lounge. And there's a nice selection of cigars that you can buy, but which is good though. He's not trying to compete with your normal brick and mortar retailers. They have the big walk-in humidors. There's a decent selection of cigars there. Decent enough, good enough size, but it's more just an incredible, from what I understand, incredible experience as far as the lounge, the food, and it's obviously cigar friendly, and you can buy some cigars there if you don't have your own. So, but I hear nothing but good things about it. I just haven't had a chance to get down there yet.
Yeah.
So hopefully over the holidays when my travel slows down, I'll get down there. But it's just, I mean, I literally go into town once a month. And I live on the west side in the Smyrna Vinings area near Home Depot's corporate office near the new Brave Stadium. So I just don't have much occasion to go downtown, man.
Yep.
So,
So tell us a little bit about, it made a big splash when it came out. Tell us about the Spectre and how that cigar came to be, getting back into Cohiba Cigars. Tell us about the Spectre and how that came to be.
So last year's Spectre?
Let's start with the first one.
Yeah, 2018. So
2018.
So it was. I'm not going to say it wasn't a mistake. It was just it wasn't supposed to happen, right? So
this is a little accident.
Yeah. So this is my first trip down to General Cigars facilities, right? So I'm down at the factory, going to the storage facilities for the tobacco, and we were in this facility out in Licey, Dominican Republic, which we've actually since shut down. That was a tobacco storage and processing facility. And just walking around with our number one tobacco guy there in the country, and I'm just one of the first places again where I see tercios, just the process of aging this tobacco in palm bark. I'd never actually seen it in person, and I'm just like marveling at all these different bells and tercios. And I see this one has this really, really, really weathered patina, just noticeably older than the others I'd seen. And it kind of gave me the code as to how to look at the side of the bell and figure out the date. But I looked at the side of this one. I couldn't figure out the date. I'm like, oh, okay. So eventually I was like, Don Kiko, hey, what is this? And he's like, oh, it's Piloto Cubano. I was like, well, I can see that. I mean, but it's old. Like, what year is it?
Yeah.
He looks, reads it, and leans up and said, oh, it's 1995. I'm like, what? Like, what? What? So this is Piloto Cubano, Asian Tercios from 1995. So at the time, this was 2017 or when did I don't even remember. So it was 22, 23-year-old Piloto Cubano at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, my inclination as a boutique guy, you find something like this, like, okay,
yeah.
cool, let's make a special release cigar.
You put your hand on the bail right away. You're like, this is mine. This is
well, I'd have to do that because it was mine.
Yeah.
But the big trick was getting them to want to do something with it, because they're like, it's one bale of tobacco. What are we going to do with it? I was like, just believe me, like, we can do something with this. So that started the process. Like, well, if we're going to do it, like, you can't just put out one, use this bale of tobacco to put out some one and done project.
Yeah.
It would. So it really started, which is sort of counterintuitive. Usually for me, cigar blending always started with the wrapper. This started from finding this more than 2 decades old bale of Political Bottom.
Yeah.
And that's when. So we got back that day. Got back to Santiago and started talking with Jonas and the rest of the guys there. Kind of talking like, can you do something with this? And it's like, well, yeah, And they kind of got excited about it because it's not like they get to do really, really small, oddball stuff, right? And I was like, well, let's have some fun with it. And they started making calls and to other facilities and just really kind of marshaling in, like, okay, what do you guys have? What's sitting out there that we haven't used, and blah blah blah. So we basically grabbed this stuff that we had, La Entrada de Copel, which is a Honduran farm that we don't even grow anymore. We had 2 years of that from going back at the time, 7 years and 8 years old tobacco. Esteli Nicaraguan tobacco that was sherry barreled aged from 2011 and 2014, and 5 years. So they just started putting all this different stuff together, and that's what started the process. So I mean, it was. I'd like to take credit, but I can't because I wouldn't even know that this stuff even existed. But the Political Bano and my impetus to use it is what started the process. And then once we got into it, I would fly back and forth. And I remember I took our last trip down, and I think I posted it when I got sort of the last, because we had never really done it. Well, not we. I mean, I had been on board with the company that long, but they had never done anything like that before, and I hadn't either. As far as the little intricate details that went into how it was aged, how the testing was done. There was just a lot that went into it, and I was really nervous because it's like this was, I convinced this behemoth of a company to put out, less than 4,000 cigars that were going to cost $1,000 a box. And boy, we better not shit the bed, right? So I was like, I got to get. So I literally flew down there, I don't know, a week before the show just to do like the final taste. And man, when I lit that boy up, I just sat back like, wow, like I knew it was a winner. I knew it was a winner. And the packaging was just like something that had never been seen before. So it was just everything. But again, I mean, it's like, when would a company this size had ever done something like that? That's the stuff that we did in the boutique world, put out less than 4,000 cigars.
Yeah.
But they were like, you know what? Let's do it. But if you're going to do it, we have to do it big. And so you bring that sort of aggressive innovation from the boutique world into a space where you have all the resources to really, really make a big splash. That's when you just really move the needle. And we put out the most expensive cigar in the history of the company. And the only mistake we made, or not mistake, but the only issue we had is that we couldn't make enough of it, So that was great. Now, but then the pressure's on for 2019, right?
Yeah.
But that was the fun part. The packaging. I love the new packaging, and it's counter to the last one was sort of the disc and the big sort of spaceship sort of circle looking thing. This one is rectangular. Lamborghini doors, just a whole sort of different look on that. Excuse me. And the blend is totally different. It's more, last year's was really good, a phenomenal cigar. But 2019 is I can say with confidence more of a hardcore cigar smoker's cigar. I mean, 5-year age Jalapa wrapper. You have Jalapa Nicaraguan tobacco from 2006, a 13-year-old Jalapa. You have some beautiful Brazilian Montefina also in the filler, Connecticut broadleaf, and there's not a leaf in there that's less than 3 years old. So it's a heavier blend, a little bit spicier, But just really, and we do have some bleed over from the previous blend. We have some of the sherry barrel age Esteli, so that's in there. That's in there with that rich sweetness of the jalapa wrapper, and this one smokes just fuller body, a little bit more spice, smaller vitola, which I like. I mean, last year's was 7x54. This one is a 6x49, so noticeably different. And that wrapper really pops. So you got the jalapa wrapper on the outside, then you got the 13-year-old jalapa in the filler, just kind of powering the whole cigar. Man, it's special. It really is. It really is.
Yeah, I remember. When that the 2018 release came out, it was really kind of a big game changer. And then the 2019 release was just huge. Also, I see it moving like crazy, and I see a lot of heat on social media with that cigar. So I think it's really doing good things.
So thank you, man. Thank you.
Any of those OGs hanging around
from last year?
Yeah.
I know a guy. Yeah.
We'll talk.
Yeah, we got to talk offline. Come on, you can't put me on blast, guys. Come on, man.
So let's shift gears. Sean, every week we do a couple interesting things. One of them is, I call it the useless fact of the week. So this week's is, I was struggling finding something this week that was even moderately interesting. This one probably doesn't meet that criteria, but I'm going to go for it anyway. So duffel bags. Duffel bags are actually the name is, they're actually named after a town. It gets its name from the town of Duffel, Belgium, where the cloth used to make those bags was originally sold. The fabric was a coarse, thick woolen cloth originally used for sturdy coverings of ships. So there you go. That is the useless fact of the week. Duffel bags are named after a town in Belgium.
I didn't need that in there, but
you didn't need it in there. It's in there now. You can't get it out.
Yeah,
it's in there.
So I don't have to come up with a useless fact. Is that
no.
That's all me. That's all me.
Okay. All right.
And now
I could, but I mean,
my favorite segment of the week is something Garrett does for us, and we're going to get into that right now. Numero de los Muertos.
Oh wow.
All right. So, Sean, what we do every week is this Numero de los Muertos.
Number of the dead?
Yeah.
Nope. I give a number.
Okay.
And then start to give out some clues. And what we got to figure out is why this thing or people or whatever is dying. And the number this week is 4 in recorded history.
Well, that's a small number.
It is a very small number. And I'll give a clue right off the bat. It has to do with so it's people. Okay, I'll give you that. 4 people die, and it has to do with animals.
All right, 4 people in the history of the world have died
in recorded history.
In recorded history have died from this.
Yep.
And it's an animal. An animal that causes it.
Yep.
Oh.
And this one actually blew me away. So
only 4? Only
yeah.
4?
Yeah. And at this point, I mean, I'm kind of digging in the barrel, deep down in there to find, good, fun statistics.
If it's only 4, yeah, it's got to be.
It can't be like being mauled by a bear or anything.
Right. No, that number is, I think there's more than 4.
4 in history?
Yeah, 4 in
history.
So
it must be some weird, like, allergic reaction to a bite or something like that. Or like.
That's a good guess, but nope.
So it's not like a jellyfish sting or something like that?
Ooh, no.
I gotta think there's more than 4 of those.
Yeah. Is it an animal that's still around? It's not an extinct animal, is it?
That's correct.
It is.
It is. No. Oh, it's still around.
Animal's still around. Is North America?
Mm-hmm.
North America. Is it a mammal?
Mm-hmm.
It's a mammal. All right, get another clue. There's got to be some other clue that won't completely give it away.
Water.
Water. Well, you said a mammal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Moose? Not a moose.
Mm-mm.
A mammal. Water.
A whale?
Yes.
Eaten by a whale.
Eaten by a whale?
Not eaten, but killed. But here's the interesting part.
It's only been 4 people in history killed by a whale?
Correct. However,
There's got to be more than
however, dude, I know. So I looked, and there's only been 4 people that have died by a whale species, and all 4 have been from orcas, and all 4 of those were in captivity, not in the wild.
That'll learn you.
that. Are you serious?
Yes.
Don't go capturing those whales.
So
How about that?
that was one of my other,
So
things.
they're less lethal in the wild.
Correct.
Wow. How about
Yeah.
that?
Now
How about that?
there
Yeah.
are rumors where there have been certain whales that have potentially taken Inuit people from like the northern Alaska and stuff that would go whaling, but that was not considered death by whale because they were hunting. I don't know, but like all the whaling ship,
Self-defense. It's like whale self-defense.
yeah. So there have only been four people who have died from whales.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to know. It's good to know.
all in captivity.
I'd say the takeaway is, like Sean said, don't capture those whales.
Yeah, don't capture the whale.
Right.
You'll be all right.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. you guys are killing me. This is like amazing.
that would have maybe the most out of left field numero de los muertos we've ever done.
Yeah.
I
like something a little different.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Sean, a little bit of a lightning round that we do with everybody is first question. If you could give one piece of advice to new cigar consumers, what would it be?
Have an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Try everything.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to cigar retailers, specifically brick and mortar cigar retailers, what would it be?
Have an open mind. you can't possibly smoke every damn cigar. You can't possibly smoke every damn cigar in your humidor.
Yeah.
Bring just because you don't smoke the cigar doesn't mean you don't need to bring it in, man. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sensing a trifecta coming here.
I think so.
I don't know.
So if you could give one piece of advice to the cigar organization formerly known as the IPCPR, now called the PCA, if you could give one piece of advice to the board of directors, what would it be? Is it have an open mind?
Oh man, yeah, I think they showed that they had an open mind. Right? Yeah. So,
Maybe too open.
Maybe a little.
No. Listen. So in all fairness, I get it, right? We have a situation where I'm not gonna say we're fighting battles on a bunch of different fronts, but we're fighting the same battle with a bunch of disparate armies, so to speak, right? And it seems like they're just starting kind of to come together, and the army isn't big enough. So we have yet to really effectively galvanize the consumers, and the CRA does what they can do, right? But still, it's just like there's this disconnect, and there's this I don't know, man, almost complacency with our consumers. Like people shout to their heads explode on Facebook about this and that, but a lot of shouting is unrealistic. I mean, we could shout all we want, but there's certain things that we're going to have to deal with, and we got to be real sober about that. Be diligent, be fervent, in our actions, but just approach this with a certain level of probity and sobriety that will allow us to make some intelligent decisions. But from the PCA standpoint, in bringing in consumers, or at least the impetus to do that, was sort of as I sort of gleaned from it. As manufacturers, with my company previously, with General now, you're members of PCA.
Mhm.
So in order for the consumers to come, they would have to kind of join some level in PCA to gain entry. So this just creates more of a consumer base, of an army of kind of getting them involved, and also put some numbers on the roll books, so that you have a bigger constituency when you try to have some of these conversations legislatively. So that's what I sort of gleaned from it. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not crazy about it. Just on its face, but I don't know that I knew all the ins and outs about it. And I don't know what the right time it would be. Would it be best to have it before the show, after the show? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm open to it. I have an open mind, right? But needed to have some meat on the bones to really kind of understand how things are going to work. And listen, I mean, you guys have been to the show, man. It's a meat grinder for us, right? We're out there for a week, damn near, and it's a lot of work setting up. We don't do a lot in the way of breaking down. At least I don't. But just the start to finish. From the time you hit you wake up in the morning to late at night. From being on the floor, you got to entertain your key customers. There's always consumer stuff you do. So it's just long days, and just to add another component in like that will take so much bandwidth. I don't know. I can't say that it's not a good idea. I just don't know if the idea was really discussed enough. But listen, man, we need cohesiveness. So we have to figure this out. We have to figure this out. So
when I like what you said too about that education piece, a guy that I follow on Twitter today said, facts don't change people's minds, community does.
Well, that's obvious, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Something that is just, in a day where so many, and this is why I'm off social media, is all of the battles and everything that go on from any issue. But what truly changes people's minds is being inclusive into a community. That's what changes hearts and minds.
Listen, your crew holds you accountable, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You have to have people that will tell you, look, man, you're tripping, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's so we have to do better at cultivating a community here that encourages certain level of candor and respect. For each other's opinions.
Because that complacency piece too, that that's huge. So people just get, if it doesn't affect them, like right now, there are millions, lots of cigar smokers out there who, don't see any future effects with FDA stuff that's going on right now.
How can they not? How can they not?
Yeah. But it's coming.
Oh, it's coming. It is coming. So that's a reality, and just us yelling, they're infringing on our rights and get out of our humidor and blah blah blah. Good luck with that.
Yep.
There's some real work needs to be done, and it's not going to be done on social media, yelling at people on Facebook. So
that's right.
Yeah, nothing gets done there. Nothing gets done. It gets done. Educating consumers. That's one of the reasons we started this whole How About That Cigar thing, is educating consumers, the casual cigar consumers that, they don't have a big, humidor. They don't even necessarily have a small humidor. Maybe they buy 100 cigars a year, and they still need to know, getting them at least to a point where they understand what the cigar community is all about. Is key for us. It's so important for us, and if we can get them, even 1% more educated, maybe that's going to give them a little bit of fire to participate a little bit more in the community and know a little bit more about what it is that they might want to step forward and fight for.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Yeah.
So notable smokables for this week, Sean, we talk every week about one or two cigars that we smoked during the past week that we thought was interesting, whether it was new to the market, old to the market, whatever it may be. One of the ones that I fired up was it was a release that was only for Germany. So Skip Martin, Mike Rosales,
Wanderlust.
It was actually the Casa Torres 20 Años, the 20th anniversary cigar for Schuster's.
Oh, okay.
And they put that blend together for them. And I bought a few boxes and I pulled one out and smoked that a couple days ago, I think. Maybe it was yesterday. And it's it's a nice Perfecto Connecticut shade wrap cigar. Very Roma craft, but coming from their factory, still constructed very well. Beautiful cigar, very, very nice flavors to it. And fired one of those up again yesterday and forgot how much I enjoyed that one. So
yeah.
Nice.
One of mine was the Last Call by AJ Fernandez.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes, solid cigar.
The Connecticut. And I know that I had it before, but again, a lot like the Cohiba that we talked about earlier, Connecticut. That Connecticut has flavor and punch to it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. Well, AJ knows what he's doing. I mean, he's got skills. So
he's King Midas.
So, Sean, I know you mostly smoke your own stuff, but do you ever have a chance to reach for something else in the humidor and fire it up?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to think. So in full disclosure, I'm actually one of the few people that's on the panel that smokes and approves all new blends, at least offers input on all new blends that come out of General Cigar.
Okay.
Oh wow.
So
who is that?
Yeah, it's cool sometimes. Because you want to be able to enjoy a cigar without actually working. So so I've been smoking a lot of test blends for not just Cohiba. So I probably got to hold my powder on this, especially for this week, since it's only Tuesday. Give me some time. Give me some time.
All right, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I only had one other one this week that was interesting enough to write down, and that was the Hoya de Nicaragua Cuatro Cinco.
Oh wow!
So I haven't had one in a while.
That's a good cigar.
Reach forward and
it's been a while since I had one of those.
Yeah, and it's good. It's that Bellicoso.
Did it make you feel like a wide receiver?
No, definitely not.
Well, that's
not Ocho Cinco. It's Cuatro Cinco.
Yeah, that's right. It's quiet. So it's half the Cinco.
Oh my God! I didn't even make that connection. Jesus.
It took me a split second. Like, what
was that? That was the joke, right? You were joking.
Oh yeah.
What are you asking? That got real uncomfortable for a second.
Yeah. No. I thought it was like an inside joke or something. Like.
Damn. Did you have another one, Garrett?
I don't even know how to say this.
Well, I'll say it for you. Oh yeah,
yep. So it's
Obelisco.
Yeah, Obelisco from La Gloria Cubana.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to say that. Obelisco. I don't know. I don't have a clue.
The packaging looked like how you get a half wheel of brie cheese. Like they were super, like to call them a pyramid just doesn't do it enough justice. It starts real skinny and gets real wide.
Okay. So it's like a cone shaped cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And box pressed.
That's called the Trumpeta.
Trumpeta. There you go.
Trumpeta.
Oh,
like trumpet.
Awesome. Yeah. It was delicious.
Good.
So yeah, that's my other notable.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for you guys watching and listening, just to let you know some stuff we have coming up. in the coming weeks. Next week, we have Ben Holt from Dissident Cigars on the show. The following week, Mr. Hector Alfonso from Espinosa Cigars and the La Zona Cigar Factory is going to be on the show. And then the following week, Mr. Miguel Shodell from Crown Heads is going to be on the show joining us. And then we have some more good stuff coming up. We're scheduled all the way through December. And then sometime early in January, we're going to try to patch together some sort of top 10 cigar list.
Oh, that's right.
Which I haven't even started digging into yet, but it's we'll start putting that together.
How about that?
So
It's
Sean,
that time of year. Yeah. Wow.
it is.
is.
That, I know it's crazy. It's that time of year. So Sean, give everybody sort of a final little idea on where they can find out more about Cohiba Cigars and what, if any, events you're going to be at coming up soon.
Yeah. So certainly on social media, you can at Cohiba Cigars. That's on Instagram and Twitter, and CohibaCigars.com, of course. But if you want it fresh, hot, and from the kitchen to your table, follow me at Sean Williams _Cohiba. At Sean Williams _Cohiba. Because I post all of my events, what's coming up, where I'm going, what's happening, what I'm eating, So that's the easiest way to keep up. And as far as events, heading out here in the morning, going back to my home city, New Orleans. Got one of several dinners I've done this year with Roots Chris Cigars. So a beautiful cigar dinner right on Fulton Plaza, Roots Chris, Thursday night in New Orleans. So if I can't say, be there if you can, because they're already sold out. So, but you can wave by and you can smell a cigar smoke and smell the steaks, and that'd be cool. But yeah, so that's this week. Next week I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska at Safari Cigars. Week after that is Thanksgiving, and the week after that I'll be in New York. I'll actually be in New York twice in December with events. We have our big holiday party at Club Macanudo, which is our home club. So that's going to be fun. And I have an event at, I think, Cigar Cave in New Jersey. I need to confirm that. So I kind of know what cities I'm going to be in most of the time, but I don't always remember exactly where I'm going to be. So so Sean Williams _Cohiba, and that's the easiest way to sort of keep up. And I like to interact with everybody that's keeping track of me. So
awesome. Yeah. Sean, thanks very much for being on the
Thanks
show.
for having me, guys.
We really appreciate it. For those of you watching, thanks for watching. Those of you listening, thanks for listening. Follow us on social media at HBT Cigar, and hit us up on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. You can send us an email directly from there. If you ever have any questions, anything you want to know, just shoot us an email right from there. And until we see you guys next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
Take care, guys.
All right.